right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to do a little bit of match setup here, but why don't you talk about the match we're about to see? Because you can see these guys. You can everybody know what we're about to see.
That's right. So we have Ray Datavolt, played by Matthew, against Han 1.
Yep.
Han Green. So I've been a avid Han Green player. Love Han Green, one of my favorite decks, so from set 1 to current. So I really enjoy it. So I'm curious to see what we got, what Jack is cooking up for us here.
There we go.
Looking at Jack's opening hand, he's got a really solid start.
Okay. Let's meet our players real briefly. On the left-hand side of your screen, that is Jack. I had Jack on camera last weekend in Houston in the very last round of Swiss, playing up against Piet Red. Opposing him on the right-hand side of your screen, this is going to be Matthew. Does he prefer Matt or Matthew? Do you know? Matt. Okay. Well, this is Matt, one of your locals from San Antonio. Yeah. Somebody you obviously know. I saw you chatting between rounds.
Yeah. He's a big Yoda proponent. Loves Yoda. So when the Yoda deck became more popular, he was super excited, and he's been playing it. He just really was unhappy with, I think, like kind of the evolution, and he really felt comfortable with Ray, so he brought it.
That is the wrong Han leader. I need to fix that real fast. It shows the wrong Han off the list. It is old school Han. There we go. Now we got it right.
Yeah, he is audacious.
He can be quite audacious. Yes, he can.
So the interesting thing about this is the completely different starts that these two decks want. So Han can come off right to the races, go up to 3 resources, put that 4/5 stolen hauler into play, follow it up by Chewie. We're off to the races. How does Ray deal with that other than throwing a couple chump sentinels away?
Yeah.
But Ray has her own game plan. She wants to play units, get value, go wide. You know, so it's a very interesting to see how this is going to play out. As I said, Jack just has a perfect curve in his hand. He could have opened any way he wanted. Matt playing the typical 1-drop.
Yep. This is what Ray wants to do. Yep. Play low, make him big.
Yep.
Right.
Get the value out of him, you know.
Yep, I've got initiative in the right place. Excellent.
All right, so I'm curious to see how Jack opens, if he wants to push that AT hauler, if he wants to go up a resource and play that Kira that's in his hand. He also is holding the Ewing.
I mean, the Ewing is such a great bomb for him when he needs it. And also, you know, he may find himself in a position later on needing to go wide himself.
Yes.
So,
and then the flexibility of Han, the smuggle ability, right? Not smuggle ability. He's called audacious smuggler.
His leader ability, right?
His leader ability.
His leader ability.
So his the flexibility of being able to know when going up will make or break that turn for you to give you that board advantage. And then, of course, feeling out the field and knowing when you can flip and then get that double resource and ramp up to 7, get that Ewing 5 on 5 resources and create a lopsided board state.
There's the hauler.
There's that hauler, and that's a big boy. That is a big boy. Takedown is a good answer to this, and then put it into play on your side.
Yep.
But if you don't have the claim takedown, if Chewie goes on it, this is a huge problem for blue in general.
Yeah.
And green. Good rule of thumb is green wants to be the biggest in play.
Going for the eager E here to at least clean out the A-wing.
The eager escort coming in again today.
And we know Matthew used R2 a minute ago. The card on the top of his deck was Bright Hope.
Yep.
And so we know that's a very possible play for him this round if he needs it.
I wouldn't resource Bright Hope.
No, he resourced the other R2 that he drew. He didn't need that.
There you go.
They come in with a Kira.
Kira says, let me look at that hand. What you got? See, one of the things I really love about blue, and it's the versatility of specifically
Spark of Hope.
That card right there, Entrenched. Entrenched
in a blue leader.
Such a versatile card where make your Sentinel bigger, make your guy bigger to beat their guy, or put it on their guy and then they can't attack.
Yep. Let's see what Jack picks here. He's still thinking. He's contemplating. He's going blue leader.
There you go.
Okay, good call.
The interesting thing about blue leader here, if he didn't name blue leader, Han goes up a resource. I'm sorry, I was reversing it.
Yeah. Ray could just ambush. Well, the blue leader won't get the 5/5 in space, right? So the space ambush doesn't quite get them there, but
next turn the blue leader could come down and kill
Kira. And so whatever it is you block, you can just clear out, and then Kira's not blocking anymore.
The other interesting thing about when you're playing blue and they play Akira and you have a takedown, it's like, do you name the takedown or do you name something else and force the takedown?
Force the takedown on Akira rather than something else you'd rather keep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting, mind game play.
We're going to entrench the AT hauler.
Now, also, the unique thing with Ray, by entrenching the hauler, he still has a resource up to make R2 bigger.
Yep. Able to take.
And that's exactly
That's
what
exactly
he
what
does.
he's going to do.
So here we go. R2
Make R2 a 3/6 now.
Before you know it, R2 is going to be killing Kira.
And, yep. And he does put 3 damage into Kira. I mean, I have seen R2 do so many silly things in this game. PQ back in Mobile, one of the last rounds of the day, I remember watching Frank Myers take his R2D2 in a Sabine deck and put 2 General's Blades on it. He looked like Chopper, just a war criminal, just hacking things up with his lightsabers. It was hilarious.
The funny thing is that I actually think the other R2D2, the 2/4,
the 2/4
also gets the blaster on him all the time. 4/4 on turn 2, 4/4 on turn 2.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Kira going to base. The question is, do you trade R2 for this Kira here?
So Kira's also blocking blue leader. That's a pretty good card overall, but there you go. He has the answer in his hand all along.
Going to play the snack bar to clear him out.
Akbar, so this card being played in set 1, splashed here and there, was a little bit in Leia. But now Akbar is coming back, ironically, in Akbar.
Yes, and absolutely a staple in Red. Like a 1/4 unit.
Go wide, get bigger, restore.
Yeah, restore 1. Like there's so many things to like about Akbar.
So much synergy
in this matchup. Would you use Han's ability there to go to 6?
That means you know what's about to happen. And he's still got that 6 resources. Now imagine he flips him and he got a 2nd entrenched.
Doesn't. He's got the entrenched.
6, but he's
flashing him a. Okay. So, Unity of Purpose.
That's what it was.
Interesting.
Yes. So, and that's why I was asking about if if Akbar played Unity of Purpose, but Ray plays Unity of Purpose specifically. All of the units they play are pretty much unique.
Well, and if I remember right, I wonder if this is the Tata version of this deck that John Tata played the top 4 of the regionals in Minneapolis. He had a one-off Unity of Purpose in his deck.
That's a good question. I know that Matt specifically is a very what's the right way? Like he loves homebrews, like he stays tight. So, but again, that's not to say and no one's influenced by something they say, right?
It's a great card to splash into Ray, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so he's gone to 7 now, so he's going to get the U-wing in.
Back in the day, I remember when you get Han from set 1, 6/6 ambush, killing something, you're just feeling like a king.
I know.
Feels so good.
Yep.
Now it hits the board. It does trade, but there are answers to it. There are ways to go bigger than it. It's not as oppressive as it once was.
So he's got, it looks like a fast Falcon, a slow Falcon. I think I see a Chewie in there, another Kira. There's Big Boy Han, and another AT hauler.
Yep. Good eyes. And he's gonna.
We're going big Han.
Yep.
Going to smash R2 out.
Start getting that board presence in.
Yep. That's a good fish. He's going to need that unit. That Han can just walk all over almost anything that Matthew's going to be playing for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, that Han unit. It's funny, like Ray doesn't want to pop out if Han's ready because Han just kills her.
Right.
And no damage. Ray wants to make sure she locks in that attack, get the +1.
Yep.
If not on herself, on somebody else. But if on herself, then Han is no longer trading.
No, that's actually a great point. With basically Han on the board, Ray can't risk flipping out. That Han needs to go before Ray comes out.
It's interesting to think about seeing Han as the 6/6 ambush, and then Poe.
Yes. yeah.
It's always interesting to see, and that's a comparison line that's going to get drawn until Poe is no longer king of the hill. But yeah, Han Green is a fun deck, and Han himself. Not all decks have this thematic element, but it's nice to have a deck that the leader has a card in the deck of itself that's like so impactful. Easy for Vader, right?
Yeah.
Easy for Luke, but not every other, leader can do that.
3PO going to trade into Han leader there. Yep. Just sacrifice himself to draw a card, which looked like it was a fleet lieutenant.
That's right. Yeah, interesting play there. But now by putting Han at 5 health, does Matt have that blue leader in hand still?
Yeah, I don't know.
From a couple turns ago that Kira seen?
Now would be the time for it if he's got it.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, does Han take the bait, big Han, and kill let's say clear either go to base or clear, and the answer is no. He
Nope,
is the right play.
We'd be racing, Ricky Bobby. Go fast.
Yep, and by doing this, it creates the 6 attack on him. So if he does blue leader it, guess who dies as well?
Yep, we're all going out. As James Holden in The Expanse says, we can all die together.
As Pennywise says, we'll all float down here.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. These are the type of mind games and plays that you plan for, that you have to anticipate. So, and like leaving that Han up is just so oppressive.
He's such an amazing unit, and when you're able to cheat him out on what amounts to literally the 5 resource rounds,
yes.
that feels terrible. He's such a huge threat on the board.
Yes.
So we're gonna ambush. We are. We're just going to trade him out.
Which this was a bit telegraphed. So here's an interesting thing now. The thing to think about is if he did it in inverse, right? If he blue leadered first and then hit it, would that have been like the right play? Would that have saved it? Would that sequencing now opened up different plays for him? Because now the Han player would have to react and maybe take an action to kill it, and then you still have the C-3PO and R2-D2 in play to kill the Han. So these are the types of things like knowing your deck, knowing your opponent's deck and the ins and outs of what they can do is going to inform your decision on how you want to sequence.
Yep. I'll say Jack really wants to play something here so that he forces Matthew to make a decision. So he's going to come in with a Poe.
Yeah, that is the Poe.
Okay.
I think that's just a really good way to do it, just because your hauler has the entrenchment.
Hauler's not going anywhere for a while.
He's blocking the lane, so now you have a threat.
Yep.
That can actually go to base.
So now Rey going to use her ability. Okay, and Han,
there it is.
And now that's going to allow Rey to deploy.
Right, and not only does Rey, what's extremely relevant on Rey's side is that restore.
Yes.
So,
I mean, I'm sure that the goal there was to hold the restore in check.
Yes.
As it is, it's going to be a net 3 damage. You're pushing 6, and when Rey comes out and swings in, she's going to put 3 of it back.
And then the real advantage of that is that Rey will then go up to a 3/7.
Yeah.
So Han can't one-shot her.
Right. So after Jack's attack, it is Matthew's action. They got a little confused there for a moment.
Yeah, we're deciding.
Yep.
See, Matthew's deciding if he wants to deploy or not.
I think I would. I don't know why I wouldn't.
So unless, you're worried about a surprise strike. But again, I think that if that was the case, then Han would be going to base anyway.
Okay, so he's going to get the restore 1.
Yeah, from the
Akbar. And get Akbar's going to go off the board. Now we're going to change initiative there. That's going to bring out Rey. Oh, I think he's going to try and clear. Oh, I see. Well, he can't get all the way there.
3 into Han.
Okay. 3 in, take 6 back.
Yes, and doing this, it puts Han at 1 life, but now Rey can be sniped by Han.
Yeah. He should be at 15. Should be at 18 damage on, 15 remaining. Yep, that's correct.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, so now this is the most interesting thing to me when you see these board states like this is what is the opponent, what's their first action?
Right.
So many good options. Han attacking is a very good option, but does he want to play Echo Base Defender?
Yeah.
Is there something else? Does he have a blue leader of his own to take out Rey? And that's where Matt has to sit there and wait for his opponent to make that decision.
Yep, Jack's on the button. Good turn for it, too. Needs to have an answer for this Rey so that he doesn't lose the damage that he's already managed to sneak in, right?
Yeah, and then this is also the precipice turn. What I mean by that is Han has done his actions. Han is no longer in play, the leader. And so once we get to the 7 and 8 resources, naturally, not Han 7 and 8 resources.
Right. Not Han's way of doing it.
Yeah, so once we get there naturally, now Matthew has the resources to drop bigger units that even Han himself just can't get over. The restore starts turning the clock the other way.
Right.
And then we've seen that Matt is running a Unity of Purpose, so I'm curious to see what other, if not Spice, what other cards is he playing that could create an interesting board
at this point, his board is not significant enough for the Unity to matter.
No, it's irrelevant.
That is kind of one of the downsides of having it in his hand the way he drew it with 3PO is that your opponent knows you have it, which takes away some of that joyous surprise.
Oof, that
As
8
it
damage
is,
to the base.
It's going to be 8 to base.
I agree with that, and then there's a flip side to that, right? So I showed you, I've done this countless times in Endless Legion. I show you this.
Yeah.
let's say I flip a Yoda and I discard, and now you see the
Yeah.
Endless Legions. I have no intention of playing Endless Legions this game.
Yeah, exactly.
But you think I do.
Exactly right. You have to respect the threat
you
that it
have to,
represents now that you
absolutely.
know I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And an interesting thing specifically with Ray is he could U-wing reinforcement, get 3 units, claim, go to next turn, and everything gets +1/+4, and he kills him.
Yep.
So that's that play line to go U-wing reinforcement to put 3 uniques in play while you have one, to claim to go to next turn to then give everything +4/+4. You're threatening lethal.
Yeah.
So this is the power of using all those little guys early.
Right.
Usually decks, unlike how Jack has been doing, have a hard time clearing out every unit because of the value of them getting bigger.
Now we see the play. He was planning on getting planning to get rid of Han with that ping from Akbar, but how many cards did Matthew have to burn through to get Han off the board because of how early he came in?
So the interesting thing, right, you have the at what cost. You know, did you have to go through that? But also, only 4 resources up. There's not much that Han can play right now to really jeopardize ground.
Yeah.
And with the restore machine still going, now you're going to make that Akbar bigger.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see Jack not opt to take Ray out. I think I would have in his shoes. That restore is such a threat.
I think that this is it might have been what Jack is looking at, what his next follow-up plays are.
Right. He obviously knows something that we don't in terms of what's in his hand or what his next play is, right?
Or what he resourced. I always find that that's something that is an unknown equation when you're watching a game. But if they resource their reinforcement walker,
right,
and they only play 1,
exactly,
we don't know that, but they do. So
correct.
That's why he could be pushing now to go to base faster.
Yep.
I do think that by attacking base with Han specifically, if he was holding a surprise strike, he was threatening lethal.
Yeah.
So it's like, what does my opponent do right away?
You know, it's interesting. When you see Hero Yellow, you expect to see the surprise strikes
every time.
But I almost never see them played in this Han green. You almost never see them.
Yes. It seems like the low cost for the bump was originally for offensively, it's just 3 more damage from hand.
Right.
So that's like the obvious. The other flip side to it was, I have the 2/2 elite droid, right? And it's shielded. Going into the Sabine flip, I can surprise strike that and kill Sabine.
Okay, Jack knows something we don't here. I'm not sure why you would play Chewie on this hauler unless you had
a confiscate.
Unless if he must be sitting on a confiscate.
Now here's the other interesting thing. If Matthew's playing regional governor and he plays regional governor and names confiscate, that would be the play of the day.
That would be pretty rude.
Because then I honestly don't think I think the only way Matthew would be able Jack would be able to get it back would be a waylay. But then now he's losing the Chewie.
Yeah.
And he played the waylay, so.
Okay. Direct hit's going to wipe that thing out.
Oh, the ship.
He wiped out Poe.
He can't wipe out Poe. Poe's an upgrade.
No, he wiped out the ship.
Yeah.
With the direct hit.
Yes, and then it kills the Poe.
Just the X-wing with Poe on it. There's the confiscate.
There's the confiscate, exactly what.
Okay. So now he does have lethal.
Yes. Now again, he's threatening lethal right there.
And what I love about the sequencing there means that Matthews burned all his resources, doesn't have any outs.
The answer.
Jack played that correctly by kind of letting that drift to the end of the turn. Now he's got it on the board.
And then check this out. Look at this the way he sequenced it. If Matthew has an answer, he can't answer both.
Correct.
So he has the Poe in play that's threatening. Then he has the Chewie. Now he's confiscating the Chewie. 2 threats.
Yep.
So Matthew answered one, which was the active threat, which was about to attack him. And then he's like, I'll make this guy the threat now.
Yep.
And
I love the way he put the Chewie out to make sure that there wasn't some shenanigans.
That he could kill the unit.
Exactly. He's like
Rivals
if
Fall.
If I take the confiscate, if I pull the entrenched off, then it's a threat that you're going to try to deal with. If I just put Chewie on it, you're going to keep ignoring
Beautiful
it.
sequencing by Jack.
Very well done.
Very well done indeed.
Very well done. All right, well, it's sideboard time here, and I have been sorely neglecting my ad rolls, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to get you. You're going to get one of my little fancy ads here while these guys do some sideboards. So give us about 2 minutes, and we'll be right back.
Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for being here. One of the most common questions I get is, how can I support what you're doing with live event coverage of Star Wars Unlimited? Luckily, there are lots of ways, and not all of them actually cost anything. For starters, if you're tuned in on YouTube, throw the live stream a like and subscribe to the channel. A couple of simple clicks, and you'll have helped YouTube's algorithm put more of my Star Wars Unlimited content in front of people who might be interested. If you're tuned in on Twitch, simply throw me a follow. Both of these things won't cost you a cent and actually help a lot more than you think. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you might be able to support me on Twitch with only a few clicks. Once you've linked your Amazon account to Twitch, check the QR code on the screen for help doing that. You can use your Prime subscription to me on Twitch. It's already included in your Amazon Prime membership and costs you nothing additional out of pocket. Similarly, over on YouTube, you can use the Super Chat functionality. Just click the little dollar bill looking icon on the bottom right corner of the screen below the chat window. This is sort of like a tip, right? You can choose a dollar amount on a little scrolling bar, and it highlights your chat message simultaneously. If you're interested in helping ensure these kinds of high-quality Star Wars Unlimited tournament streams continue well into the future, I would also ask you to check out my Patreon over at patreon.com/craptor. QR code on the screen will take you there. I have 4 tiers of support that each come with various benefits, up to and including the embroidered polo shirts you see the team and I wearing on the stream when we cover events. For the cost of only a single booster pack per month, you can support these kinds of productions and get some really fun perks along the way. Whether you choose to pitch in and help keep us on the air or not, thanks for being here. We love Star Wars Unlimited, we love the community, and we look forward to showcasing more of both in the future.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sideboarding, I think these guys look like they're done. They haven't finished cleaning up the tokens from the previous game. In fact, Matthew's shuffling his deck, and he's still got one of his units on the field. So
Just Ray.
Just Ray. It's no big. Oh, it's his leader. Never mind. So she's not going back in the deck anyway.
Yeah,
I just realized that. So no big deal. But really, really good matchup here between these two guys.
Yeah.
I got to see Jack play probably this exact same deck last weekend in Houston. Again, it was round 7 of Swiss. And he was trying to round up enough points to make the top cut, right on the bubble. And he ended up paired into Piet Red. And Ari's Piet Red deck had, I think they were both 4 and 2 at that point.
Okay.
So they were both trying to get to 5 and 2. And Ari could have actually won one of those games. We all missed it. Jack was way ahead. He had 21 health remaining. But Ari puts out a Devastator.
Mm-hmm.
And
red
we're
or
all going
green?
This was red.
Okay.
She was playing Piet Red. So this,
Sure.
yeah, Red Devastator. I
Okay.
should clarify. And then hits him and has a Planetary Bombardment in her hand. And the next round she Planetaries, but Jack is so wide. She's so like chatting out with my commentary numbers both. She doesn't see it. If she goes 12 to base and then swings with Devastator, the game's over. And I was like, and we all missed it. And chat was like, dude, she just missed lethal. And we're all going, oh my God, she did. It was terrible.
Those are rough.
It was rough.
Those are rough, especially when you have the Eureka moment like right after.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, pass, and then you draw the 2 cards. You're like,
no,
what'd I do? Like, why?
Yeah, I know the feeling. We've all done it at least once.
I will say that something, this has happened with me and multiple opponents where they play a card and then they're like, oh, do you mind if I take that back? Like, nothing's changed. Nothing's happened.
Yeah, and I do that all the time.
So it's like, right now, I was just going to say exactly what I said happened. Matt is deliberating his resource. He's resourcing down, but he doesn't know if he wants the mulligan, then he's going to mulligan. And that's exactly what he did.
I mean, honestly, until the game begins, he still has
100%.
He can still just mulligan. He's just like, nah, you know what? In the end, I'm not going to do this.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just an interesting dynamic to think about how if it affects you.
Okay, that's fine. Maybe need to turn these guys just up a hair.
I will say, game 1, I was very impressed with Jack's play, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the things about this Han, and we kind of hinted at it talking about the leaders earlier when we were looking at the leader field. This Han, almost more than all the other Hans, in my opinion, you need the reps with the deck, I think, to think through the lines of play and the weird shenanigans that can happen with having an extra resource in a round you didn't think you were going to have it and so on. And there's a lot going on with that leader.
Yes, 100%. When I first started playing the game, I played every leader. Like every week from the release of the game for 3 months straight, I just played a different leader. You know, played Jin, Chewbacca, everybody.
Just tried a little bit of everything. Just try it all.
New game. I want to see what we got. And it wasn't until I got to Han towards the end of set 1, ironically, it was about a month left in the end set 1, that I fell in love with it. And it was because of the choices.
Yes. There's so many great options.
Yes. And now this is an interesting thing. This game, he's starting with going up to 3 resources immediately, cheating out Millennium Falcon, putting a 3/4 threat into play that on turn 2, no way for Ray to deal with.
Yeah.
And if he has the follow-up Chewbacca, it's such a problem, creates such an issue. We already know he's baiting confiscates. So the answer to the Chewbacca being the entrenched, we know he has it. So now it all depends on who drew what, right?
Yeah.
See how it shakes out.
How often do we say, your opponent may have the counter, make them have it.
Make them have it, yeah.
Make them have it.
Yeah. If they didn't draw it, they don't have it.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, I noticed a lot of people don't have like really solid sideboard plans. What I mean by that is they're not necessarily siding in a 2 for a 2 cost or keeping their ratios great. So a lot of times, even if they sideboard, they might resource it. You know what I mean? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't have a 2. Because I took some out on turn 1. Now I have to resource this, something, so on and so forth.
It's difficult sometimes, I think, to kind of think through all that stuff. He's going to grab a Luke
Big boy Luke.
right away.
I bet if he had that last game, he would have been in a much better position.
It would have been a much different game, I think. That's one of the few units that Big Boy Han does not want to see.
Nope.
He does
That's
not
7,
want to.
but
He does not want to look across the board and see Jedi Knight.
Not only that, but on the flip side, I come out, I kill you. He comes out, he kills you.
Exactly
so
right.
Han will get the free trade, but then so will Luke, and then we're back at square one. But Luke is in play.
Both leaders getting used, and now we're getting Akira in. Let's have a look here. Blue leader fell the dragon. U-wing reinforcement, and of course
And
that
then
Han
Luke.
that we just saw.
Luke.
Oh,
that we
Luke.
just
Thank
seen,
you.
yeah.
Thank you.
I'm curious again to see what Hunter picks. The irony,
Jack.
Jack picks. The irony here is that Fell the Dragon is not particularly good against him.
Okay. He did choose Fell the dragon.
Yeah.
I suspect he's thinking about Fell in terms of
Later.
being able to use that Falcon, being able to build it up.
Build it up.
Like as soon as he puts one pilot on that Falcon, it's going
That's
to be
right.
huge.
Unless it's Chewie.
Chewie, the Fell, that's fair.
Yeah.
Fell wouldn't do anything if it was Chewie.
Yeah.
But if he puts any other
Any
pilot
other
on that
pilot, yeah,
Falcon,
absolutely.
And we saw earlier, we know he's playing the ambush Han out of JTL that could pilot the Falcon. We saw those in his discard pile previous game.
He's most likely playing Luke pilot.
That's a very strong. That'd be a good card for him.
So now the one drop, the clone cohort for.
The little deserter. That's such
clone
a great
deserter.
card.
That's what it is.
That's
The clone
such a great
deserter.
card.
It's such an interesting card. I feel like this is the kind of the definition of balance. Like give it restore, make it a little bump stats. But when your opponent kills it, they draw a card.
Exactly. They give you a little reward for it.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the bounty cards are very well costed for what you get. Oh, he attacked Kira, not the base. My apologies.
I find them 50-50.
Okay.
Like 50%, their bounties are goofy.
Some of them are.
They're like, there's one of them that's like if the Hunter of the Haxian Brood. It's a 4/3, I think that's a stat line. If your opponent has a bounty, it comes to play shielded. It's a yellow villainy. I'm just going to play Boba 3/5. like solid.
Yeah.
Like so that's why I say 50-50 because some of them they're just kind of weird. Like they occupy this space that you don't really want to play because it's not doing something better and it's an extra restriction.
Yep. Okay, I don't know why I actually bumped a button there. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. 3 more to base. And
5 all.
Okay, there we go.
While Matt's contemplating what he could do on this turn, we already know that there's a ton of options. One of them is just making Mon Mothma just a little bit bigger.
He could just waste time if he wanted to, if he had a 3-resource play.
The other thing is, what does he have in his hand?
Well, we know most of them, right? We saw everything but what he drew at the end of that turn. He does go ahead and
That's the X factor.
He does go ahead and make Mon Mothma a little bigger.
Han says,
There's our
I'm
other
about to
leader.
play something for 5 this turn.
Han's like, I want my resources. Let's do it.
So now Matt has to think, okay, so he went up to 5. What does he want to do for 5 resources? Just playing Chewbacca on ground is also pretty good.
Also solid.
I keep saying Chewbacca as if he has it. He probably didn't even draw
He may not. We don't know. I know
Yeah.
he's got a. He's 100% got a the ambush Han in there, the ground unit.
Yeah.
I saw that in his hand. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and ambush into the ground and clear Mon Mothma with his own blue leader.
Whenever my opponent has 5 resources in green heroism, I always assume blue leader because it's a double threat space ground. So it's always a good card. The funny thing is, like when it came out now, it still has this like satisfying feeling to it, right? It's like I played a space unit on ground, haha.
It's what I love about that. When they spoiled it, I was like, this card is amazing for the same reason that I really like a lot of the pilot pilot units is that they give you more tactical options.
Yeah.
This is a space unit, but I can play it as a ground unit if I want to pay for it. This is a ground unit, but I can play it as a vehicle upgrade
Yep.
if I want to.
Yep.
Those kind of options just in the height of a game give you the ability to react to different situations.
Yeah, them having dual cost cards, I thought was brilliant.
I love it.
When they, I honestly felt like Smuggle was going to be more impactful than it was. The cards that Smuggle's good on are impactful.
Very.
Right, even to now, the Blaster, Tech, so on.
Timely intervention.
Timely intervention, yeah, like so on and so forth. So it's clear when the Smuggle's right, but I felt like a lot of the cards, like the Collection Star Hopper, it smuggles for a normal cost.
Yes.
It's like that's not a good trade-off.
Yeah.
So, and then of course,
Well, I think the other thing is you had leaders that were meant to interact with Smuggle, and just didn't. And now that we haven't supported Smuggle at all since that set, those leaders are basically just left in the dust.
absolutely, you are 100% correct. One of the things about like Han, for example, is he doesn't have a type of synergy that relies on any ability.
Jack is kind of watching Jack play this game. It feels like he's changed his tactics a little bit. He's he's aggressively prosecuting these units that Matthew is
he's
playing.
trying to bully the board so he doesn't get blown out by a big unit of purpose. It's very possible that's what he's thinking. It's also possible he's thinking
going to be another U-wing. No, it's
Enfys to bounce it back to his hand. And this is the oppression that Han does, the out-tempo.
Yeah.
So we watched in a prior round someone play Cunning, get the value, exhaust 2 bounce, right? Akbar did that. Now you have Han, outside of bullying the board, playing Enfys, which comes to play and bouncing something to make tempo, and then if he replays the unit when Enfys attacks, it bounces right back.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Han is taking control of the board to not allow Rey to go wide. So that's why he started picking off his units.
Yeah.
Now we are getting up into those late resources. We know he has Luke. We know Rey is about to come out. There's a lot of nuance that's going to go back and forth. That this game could go either way. All right, so we got rid of Enfys Nest with the Felder Dragon to leave a pretty impressive board still up, which is the Millennium Falcon, the Blue Leader upgraded on ground, as well as what's the last one?
What are you looking for? Oh, this guy. Let's have a look. That's big.
It's as well as the Han Solo.
That's the Han Solo.
Yeah, as well as the leader.
That's the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the hard shell.
Yeah, that's the reflection.
Yeah.
You can see him.
The glare on the bottom end of the table is a little rough, and I don't have my diffuser, unfortunately. So unfortunately, very little I can do about it.
Yeah, we'll make do. So Mon Mothma gets a blue leader.
We definitely pushed some damage to Matthew's base here.
Yep.
What's he got? 14 on now.
And he just went up to 17. So leaving him with 16 left.
16 remaining. There we go.
A 1 and a 5.
So what I was going to say, I got distracted. OBS telling me we had disconnected somewhere, so hopefully that didn't happen. But
okay.
Jack had basically cleared the board going into Rey's flip turn,
Yes.
which really was
Limits
nice.
his options
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That was definitely clearly the right play for Jack to just take control of the board, to limit the options that Matthew has, even just moving forward. Having Han in play, getting an extra resource, and then having the threat of Big Han. It's like right now Matthew's being very oppressed by Jack.
Yeah. Now, how did Enfys die? Felder Dragon?
Felder Dragon,
okay.
yes.
I thought I heard you call that while I was busy looking at something else.
Yes, Enfys came into play, bounced the Mon Mothma, which, as you can see, came back into play.
Sure.
But,
because why not?
And then Felder Dragon took out Enfys at the beginning of this turn.
You know, for so many sets, Mon was kind of disregarded, but man, she's had quite the renaissance in the last few months. A lot of folks now putting her in this Rey deck. You see her in some other places as well. So
specifically, I think one of the ways to kind of like ascertain why some of these cards are coming up now is in the very beginning when set 1 came out, this was very much a curve deck game. Everybody's trying to be on curve. Like, there was no go wide. We can see that now.
Yeah.
We have go wide. We have tokens in the deck, in the game. So you have token producers. Mon Mothma now getting that extra card value outside of comboing with Rey is very relevant.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see as the card pool grew, some of the cards that got a little love or got no love are getting love now.
Jack's smuggling in something here. What is that?
A tech.
I
he's
see
got
it now,
He's got a Han with a blaster and a tech in play. So this is the other secondary brutal part about Han. So he expended his hand. He used the resources to go up.
Yep.
And then now he brings tech, and now his resource row is a second hand.
He's a second hand.
And after all the resources you spent, it was to take control of the board, so now he doesn't lose the card advantage race.
Yep.
But I will say Matthew is clawing back.
Well, he is. It's interesting. Jack did the same play he did in the first game, right? With the blaster in the row, he had the opportunity to snipe Ray as soon as she flipped. He opted to instead use the blaster to take Han and push base damage, let Ray come out, move to a 3-7, and restore 3. He did the exact same thing last game. And he, I mean, he's this as far ahead as he is. I can't necessarily fault the play.
For sure.
But I got to say, there's a part of me that every time Ray, knowing that I have the opportunity to just assassinate her as soon as she hits the board, feels really good.
It also has to do, the other thing is, like, what does blue-green heroism do to kill Han now that he's already out, about, and he has the blaster?
You got to just smash. You got to smash into him.
So he knows that. So let me go to base.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. Well, let me have you waste your actions.
Yeah. Like your Fell the Dragon is meaningless against me. I'm a leader. No, you're fine.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. So he has. I call it leader armor.
Yeah.
It just simply states that, like, there's a bunch of cards that have the text non-leader.
Right.
And that leader armor makes it so Han is very hardy.
I think Rivals Fall is the only one that gets around it, and if you're not playing it, well then
takedown.
You're right. But he still has to smash something into it at least a little bit to get it below.
Rivals Fall is the only.
Yeah. It's just straight up. Oh, we're gonna go double blaster. 8 to base.
Yep. And then that puts them on that for the clock. And then remember I said about double, like, creating 2 threats.
Yep.
So now you have the threat of Han, and then you have the threat of tech.
Yes.
So if you trade with Han, and anything you attack with will die to Han because Han has 8 attack. And then now you have to deal with tech, because then the next turn, now Ewing from the row could come out.
So technically here, Jack has Matthew in check. He is showing lethal on the board.
Mm-hmm.
He also, like, if he's sitting on one of those ambush pilot Hans, he could only need 1 action.
Yep.
To end the game. He could just play it on the Falcons and swing in for 6, and that would be the game.
And then again, we get into a situation where if he, like, you're on ground and in space, if he has the Chewie pilot, by putting it on the Millennium Falcon, what does Matthew have to answer that?
Yeah.
And then if he does answer that, he can't answer ground.
Right. I feel like Matthew has to swing in with Ray just to get the heal. He seems to agree. His question is, where does he send this damage? Base is not the answer here, I don't think. Okay. 3 to tech. Restore 3, and Ray's going off the board because that was her last 2 HP.
And now he still has all his resources up, so he could possibly have a Luke.
Yep.
And Ray died, so that's the -6/-6.
Yep.
That would cleanly get
rid of the Han leader.
But that clock that he put him on is rough right now.
Yep.
And also, it is good that Mon Mothma can kill tech.
Yes. And survive hilariously.
And then live. Yes. Yeah.
Hilariously.
Hunter knows I could feel it. He's like, what I do next is really what's going to decide the game.
Well, and I think you're right. I think you've called the Luke play correctly. Like Matthew, we know he has the Luke. He's had it for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been that long since he drew it, right? But we watched him draw it like a long time ago.
Yes, we have.
So it was the very first Mon Mothma play he made. He pulled a Luke, and I'm sure he hasn't resourced it.
Yeah,
so that will allow him. Yeah, that'll allow him to clear this Han.
I think there's certain matchups. This is one of them.
There's a surprise strike. 5 to base, so he does have him in there.
Talking about it. Now, here's the funny thing. By him surprise striking here, Luke could come down and clear space if he wanted. Then Mon Mothma clears this, but then again, now you have...
I mean, but I don't think you can leave the Han behind. I think there's just too many threats.
That double threat, it's rough.
Yeah. Well, and Jack still has 3 resources available. That still leaves him the opportunity. He's going to entrench.
There goes that entrench.
Okay, I was going to say, leaves him the opportunity to pilot the Falcon and still swing in with lethal.
Confiscate. Now, and then here's the other issue I'm going to tell you right now. If he has confiscate at any point in this game and he put it in the row with 3 resources up, he could smuggle it.
Tech is still on the board.
Tech is still in play. And
those 3 resources would not allow him to pilot it this round, but that 3 damage is lethal.
No, the confiscate, so he can...
Yeah.
So
he doesn't need to pilot. He needs to kill it.
Yeah, confiscate the entrench, then go to base.
Yeah, Tech's still on the board. He could just play it.
And it's like, ironically, it's exact lethal.
I'm sitting here thinking he still needs to pilot it. He doesn't right now. The surprise strike put the Falcon basically as the play. Jack's going to claim.
Yep.
I thought he was on the button, but I didn't see the marker.
So now the bad thing about him claiming early is that if Matt has a way to deal with Han and Mon Mothma kills, he stabilizes.
Yeah.
So another entrenched is the answer. That's one of the answers.
Does he?
He needs a Sentinel.
He's got 5 resources. Fell the Dragon would do it if he's got it.
Fell's
non-leader. We just talked about this.
I'm thinking
Rivals Fall.
I'm thinking Rivals Fall.
Rivals Fall would be 6. He
Fell
can't
is
afford it
non-leader.
anymore. He can no longer afford the Luke that would clear this out.
Correct.
Yeah. A Sentinel would do it, but he'd have to draw into it. Otherwise, he would have played it already, I suspect.
Right now, Matt is doing mental gymnastics with 1 + 2 is 3.
1 + 1 + 2 is 1.
Yeah.
Plus 1.
But it's the truth. You try to maximize every resource. You don't want to miss any play. You know, if I miscounted this one thing, I could have tried. So that's where he's in this deliberation phase.
Well, and it's interesting that last game with Hunter and the army of X-Wings that we saw at the end of the game, it didn't feel like Hunter took the time to work that out. Chat was actually talking about that. He's staring down the barrel of that Crate Dragon across the board.
Yes.
But
how do you win?
But how do you win?
How do you
right?
win?
Like, how do you get there? Matthew does find a way to clear the Han. So it's a question of what. Han's gone. The blasters are gone. He's down to tech and an entrenched Falcon here. Okay, so Jack's got a hot shot. Then he's got to show it. If he's got it, then he's got. There it is. Then he's got the game. There it is. That's lethal. All right. That's a 2-0 win here for Jack on Han Green here in round 3 in Austin.
This goes to show when Han gets going, if you don't have a way to disrupt him specifically on the flip turn, the flip turn becomes so oppressive that they pull so far ahead that you just never catch back up.
Well, and I think it's one of the reasons that you see so many players that we talked about earlier, they fall in love with this leader because of some of it's the speed, some of it I think is the tactical options. The yellow-green hero pool is very deep.
Absolutely.
There's so many good cards, so many good options, so many good threats you can put in that deck.
The interesting thing about yellow-green specifically is that they can't tackle every threat like efficiently, but they can tackle every threat.
Yeah,
So you have ways to exhaust, you have ways to bounce, you have ways to make your guys bigger.
Yeah.
So you have ways to handle every threat.
Yep.
But what do you put in your deck?
Yeah.
Are you going to run into those threats?
Right. I was going to say that's the trick. Is how do you narrow it down to okay? I've got to get to 60, right? Because I have seen. Thank you. 50. I have seen people play this Han with Data Vault, but you don't see it very commonly.
Right.
They want to be able to draw into the big cards that they need early enough that it's going to matter.
I will say that if there ever was a deck that was the opposite, it would be Yoda because it was a combo deck, but it played Data Vault.
Yes.
I don't see any other deck that's a combo deck want to play Data Vault. Getting the combo pieces when you need them. Now, if the combo is super late, that could change.
Right.
But more often than not, you need to combo 2 cards, and you can't comboing 2 sevens.
Whoa.
Is 14.
Oh, sorry, I get nervous when people smash the camera stand so bad that it ends up cocked at 15 degrees and it looks like it's an earthquake out there.
So it's one of those things that's very it's very interesting to think about, like the choices that you have to make in the deck building process.
Yeah.